Alrighty, folks, it's been a long time. Still waiting for a date on my surgery. So, in the meantime, I haven't plugged in over a month. So, anyways, let's see what we got. I'm always doing lessons based on helping you expand your creativity. As I've said before, you can go on YouTube to learn any cover stuff. It's funny. I got into, all of a sudden, I watched the documentary, Randy Bachman, Story Behind the Songs, and forgot all about the Guess Who. I mean, it's been over 50 years, and when I watched that, all that came back to my remembrance of how much good music they had. And I didn't realize that they used a lot of jazz chords in a lot of their stuff. One of my favorite chords is the major 7. It's always been. Always been. They just, I think, the most beautiful chord there is. So, today, expanding creativity, I'm just going to do things I've already done many times in the past. We'll take D major as an example. It's the same in every key. You're going to have like your basic D chord. This is a D major 7, but I play still out of the key of D. All the major 7 is, for those of you who don't know, is you got there's 7 notes in the scale, and then it repeats itself. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's your major 7. This would be a minor, or dominant 7 if you're playing like this. That's totally out of a different key, even though D. I could play a lot of different D things. D minor would be out of the key of F, a D natural minor. The D dominant 7 would be D mixolydian flavor, which would come from G. That's how I look at it, because so anyways, back to the D major we're going to do today. So, this is basic. Yeah, they call it theory. To me, your basics in learning, if you learn all your scale blocks in a key, you're going to have basically you've got a major chord, we're talking D, then a minor. In this case, your chords are going to come off of the D note first, which is your major. Your next note in the D major scale will be a minor. Your next note is also a minor, or a minor 7. There's a lot of substitutes to each of these chords too that you could do. It's endless. Music's a wheel and a wheel and a wheel and a wheel. The basics: major, minor, minor, major. That's your 4 chord, which would be a G in D, and then your 5 chord would be A. Your minor, natural minor, in this case, would be B. We're talking D major, everything from D major. And then when you get to this, it's a diminished on the C sharp. That's the 7 in D. So what do we got? I just think 3 frets apart. Close enough. And then back. So we're going to go over the scale blocks, so I create things, instrumentals, or I could get them off YouTube, that if I'm going to play to that in the key of D, basic, simple thing. So I just if I was going to play a progression like that, it's just play all the scale blocks of D major. So, you know, I'll just play what I want to hear, you know. So your scale blocks out of D major, I start at the lowest point on the fretboard always and teach it to the furthest point on the fretboard. And in D major, you're not going to get on the low E to the first scale block till you get to the 10th fret in this case. But the thing what I did when I decided to dig in and learn somewhat of the fretboard in 2012 or so, I sat down and did what I'm showing you now. I'd find everywhere it is, like this block, your basic major scale in D, starting on the low E string. Okay, so then I would find that scale everywhere it exists on the fretboard at every angle it exists. I'd find every root D note and I'd go this way, I go this way, and it, you know, and then everywhere it exists, you know, say, and then I'd go to the next block in D major, which would be starting with the E, as we talked about here. Second note's an E, so I would start with the E note and play the same notes from D major. So being as there's an E in there, the lowest point on the fretboard, I'd start here. So that's, if you go E to E, it's called E Dorian. But I don't think that way anymore when I learn these blocks. I just learn all the notes that are in that block and go to the next block, would be F sharp, it would be Phrygian. You want to listen to it from F sharp to F sharp and you'll hear what Phrygian sounds like. The biggest thing about learning a key, learning the scale blocks and all that, is taking the time, once you know where the notes are and you play it up and down enough times so you don't have to think. The most important part is listen to every note and also pay attention to how it makes you feel. This is all of what I'm doing is all from the key of D major. It's the same 7 notes that you start with in D when you go do, re, mi. All of what I'm doing is just those same 7 notes. We started with a D, with a, and then I would toy with them. I would learn how to do the dyads, triads, arpeggios with that one thing. And then the same thing with the E Dorian, learn the triplets. So back to the scales. So you listen to what the E Dorian sounds like. You only go E to E to get that Dorian flavor. You can't walk up and down that whole block. All 7 modes are in every single block. So the only thing that makes it E Dorian is going from E to E. And then I would find find that everywhere on the fretboard. You know, and just I would do that so I could listen to what E Dorian sounds like. So F Phrygian, right? And then the next one up. And again, learn the whole block. Once you want to learn what all the notes are, but this is all of this is just D major. So the next block up, you start with the G note. That would be your fourth note of the D major scale. We just did the first note, then we did the second note. What? Which is the E Dorian, right? And then we did the third note, F, the Phrygian flavor, just starting with the F sharp and continuing up the D major notes of the D major scale, if you will, and that's how you get that flavor or that mode. It's a mood, it's a feel. Everything about music is a feel. And it's how you play the notes when you start creating, too, that makes it unique. So now we start with the G note and we play the same 7 notes of the D major scale. That's Lydian flavor. So the amp's kind of, the volume's up, so it's breaking down a little when I hit the notes hard. What? So that's your Lydian flavor. If you take the time, if you did a block a day and sat and what I call milked it, you'd get to hear these things. I watched a Herb Alpert documentary last night. I don't know if it's an hour and a half long, 2 hours, whatever it was. And I was just sitting there listening. I was intrigued by the whole thing. I'm trying to draw from people that were highly successful and creative in their life. And because he was a trumpet player, as you all know. But I'm just listening to what they're playing. I never played any of his stuff. I was into distorted rock and roll when I was a kid. And just listening to it, I'm there. That sounds like C minor. I'd pick up my guitar, I had the 335 next to me, and I started playing them there. It is. Or E flat major. That's where C minor comes from. So then in my mind, I'm like, oh, E flat, F Dorian, G, you know, just from learning one key, those 7 scale positions, Ionian, Dorian, Phrygian, Lydian, Mixolydian, Aeolian, and Locrian, I learned one a day. So I started on a Saturday, and by the next Saturday, I knew all 7 scale blocks in one key. Now the thing was to keep playing them for another few weeks and get that shape inside of me, so much so that I can move to any key. It's just this one shape to the next. Each shape, you know, from this one and this one and so on. So now we get to the A, Mixolydian. It's your 5 chord out of D major, and it's where your dominant 7, heavy for the blues and the that kind of thing. You got a major 3rd in there. So instead of this is like to break beyond the pentatonic and the gain stuff or the blues and rock. It's so old. I mean, I played it for, you know, a lot. And I just got so tired of it. I'm like, geez, there's got to be other stuff. Well, this is the other stuff. So A Mixolydian, this is all from D major now. So there's no minor 3rd in this. On the A in D. Now you come to your B natural minor. And again, I took that same thing and learned how to play it going this way, straight down, this way, and everywhere else on the fretboard. That one thing on a given day. I took that one thing, and all I did was just keep reminding myself of what are the notes in the D major key. And so in each one of these blocks, that's all I focused on, is all the notes that are in D major. But now we're starting with the B note, it becomes B natural minor. Now if you watch, I play the same notes, but I start with the D note. I'm just playing the same notes. All these things I'm doing are just the same 7 notes. I'm starting with the next note up and the next note up. Then each one of those I find everywhere it is. What am I doing? Oh yeah, B. Yeah. Okay, so then your last one is the diminished flavor, starting with the C sharp note in D major. So it's not minor, it's not Phrygian, it's Locrian. Yeah. Think, Clay. And then T back to your D. So there you go. Those are the 7 blocks. When you learn them, you start and you play them enough so that you hear what they sound like and and also see how they make you feel. Then I start, the other thing that really helped with my creativity is playing in 1 chord. D major 7, same as a D major. Well, you just go, but I'll lean towards flavor in that. You know. So. You know, that kind of thing. And goofing around, we're just playing in 1 chord. Out of any one of them blocks, I play out of the B natural minor block to them. You know, just playing what I want to hear and listening to how it makes me feel, and then looking for something that I might want to keep for a melody if I'm going to create a piece. You know, that kind of thing. So it's just this is just a little rehash on expanding your creativity. To me, it's a must to take a key and learn the 7 scale blocks. And then obviously the pentatonic on that's your B natural minor. Pentatonic is also D major. But the other thing about playing to say a D major 7 chord, there's a couple other minor pentatonics that work with that. I don't want to get into it right now. A major pentatonic will work over that too, which is so it's a whole nother thing. But just a little expanding on your creativity ideas.